Rootborn Chronicles, Season 4, Episode 9, Home Again. The morning sun painted golden streaks across the highest branches. Another day had begun. The village stirred to life with familiar sounds, the tapping of builders, the laughter of children, the voices of gatherers preparing their baskets. The rhythm of life had become comforting, steady, predictable. Home. Earlier that morning, the great lowering basket descended through the towering branches. Shelia stepped quietly onto the forest floor. She smiled at the rootborn tending the ropes. "I'll be back soon." He nodded. "I know." Shelia followed the familiar path toward the river. She looked towards the smooth branch where she had left her gift. It was still empty. She smiled anyway. Sometimes, knowing was enough. After a quiet moment beside the river, she returned to the waiting basket. Nothing more was said. Enoch stood near one of the outer platforms, studying the forest below. Nearby, a builder struggled to lift a heavy support beam by himself. Without a word, Enoch walked over. Together they raised the beam into place. The builder smiled. "Thank you." Enoch simply nodded and returned to the overlook. Seth had watched the whole exchange. "You never let anyone do hard work alone." Enoch smiled. "No one built this village alone." He rested both hands on the living railing. "When I was your age, I looked out here and saw a forest." He paused. "Now, I see our responsibility." Seth quietly looked across the endless canopy. He wasn't sure he understood. Not yet. Nearby, Shelia and Japheth helped younger children collect feathers that had drifted down from nesting birds. Japheth held up a large feather proudly. "This one is mine." Shelia laughed. "The forest gave it to everyone." Japheth grinned. "I found it first." The younger children laughed. Before long, every feather had become part of another game. Later that afternoon, families gathered near one of the oldest platforms in the village. Elder Ezra had finished restoring a weathered carving that had stood there for generations. The children gathered around curiously. "What is it?" Ezra gently ran his hand across the smooth wood. "It reminds us." "Of what?" He smiled. "That we were not always this strong." He pointed toward the carved figures. "There was a time when our people feared every storm." The children listened quietly. "We had fewer homes, fewer bridges, fewer hands." He looked across the bustling village. "But every generation built something. The next generation received." Shelia studied the carving. "So, we're building for children who haven't even been born yet." Ezra smiled warmly. "Exactly." He looked toward the newest living highway, stretching toward another great tree. "Some things we build, we may never use ourselves, but someone will." That evening, the entire family shared supper together. The day's stories filled the air. Japheth proudly described finding the biggest feather. Shelia spoke about the old carving. Seth remained unusually quiet. Enoch noticed. "What are you thinking?" Seth looked around the home. The woven walls, the hanging lantern, the carefully crafted shelves, the familiar faces. Then he answered, "When I was younger, I thought home was this place." He gently touched one of the wooden beams. "Now I think home is the people who keep building it." A thoughtful silence settled over the room. Sheba smiled proudly. Enoch nodded. "I believe you're beginning to understand." As darkness settled across the canopy, families closed their doors. Lanterns glowed inside the tree hollows. Children drifted to sleep. Builders rested tired hands. Hunters prepared for another dawn. Healers finished their last remedies. The village became quiet once again, safe, strong, loved. High above the branches, Elder Ezra stood for a moment, looking across the sleeping village. His eyes settled on Enoch's home. A gentle smile crossed his face. Then he quietly walked on. In somewhere beyond the stars, tomorrow quietly waited, because home was never something the Rootborn simply inherited. It was something they chose to build together. The elders would remember this day, and it would become another chapter in the Chronicles of the Rootborn. If you're enjoying the journey, like, subscribe, and share. Welcome to RC Best, where stories and ideas come alive. Don't miss the next chapter. Every episode reveals another piece of the world.